Terminator Genisys. This video compresses information gathered from Wikipedia in video format. Studies prove that reading while listening improves comprehension, increases speed as well as expands vocabulary and enhances fluency. Video sections: abstract, plot, production, music, release, reception, future, external links. Give your feedback on the comments section. Support the channel by subscribing and liking the video. Thanks. Abstract. Terminator Genisys is a 2015 American science fiction action film directed by Alan Taylor and written by Laetitia Logridis and Patrick Lussier. The film is a soft reboot of the Terminator film series, taking the basic story of the original film in another direction. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, who reprises his role as the Terminator, following his absence in 2009's Terminator Salvation, alongside Jason Clarke, Emilia Clarke, Jai Courtney, J.K. Simmons, Deo Okuni, Matt Smith, Courtney B. Vance, and Lee Byung-hun. It follows Kyle Reese, a soldier in a post-apocalyptic war against Skynet, who is sent from 2029 to 1984 to avert Sarah Connor's death. When Kyle arrives in the past, he discovers that the timeline has been altered, and that Sarah has been raised by a reprogrammed Terminator. Sequels for Terminator Salvation were cancelled after the Halcyon Company faced legal issues and filed for bankruptcy. Megan Ellison and her production company Annapurna Pictures acquired the franchise rights in May 2011. The following year, production of another installment in the series was set up in collaboration with Skydance Productions, owned by Ellison's brother David. The Ellisons consulted Terminator creator James Cameron in the hope of returning to the spirit of The Terminator, 1984, and its sequel Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1991. Principal photography was primarily in New Orleans, with some in the on-screen setting of San Francisco. 6 companies handled the film's visual effects, with its prosthetic makeup and animatronics created by Legacy Effects. The film was released by Paramount Pictures on July 1, 2015, in Real D 3D and IMAX 3D. It was not well received by critics, who criticized the plot and acting, although Schwarzenegger's return and performance were praised. Terminator Genisys grossed over $440 million worldwide, making it the second highest-grossing film of the series, and of Schwarzenegger's career, behind Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Plot. In 2029, human resistance leader John Connor launches a final offensive against Skynet, an artificial general intelligence system, a year before the resistance can triumph. Skynet activates a time machine and sends a T-800 Model 101 Terminator back to May 12, 1984, to kill John's mother Sarah. John's right-hand man, Kyle Reese, volunteers to travel back in time to protect her. As Kyle floats in the machine's magnetic field, he sees John being attacked by another resistance soldier. This alters the timeline and causes Kyle to experience childhood memories from an alternate version of himself. When it arrives in Los Angeles 1984, Skynet's T-800 is disabled by Sarah and Pops, a reprogrammed T-800. Pops was sent to 1973 to protect Sarah when she was 9 years old, after her parents were killed by a T-1000. When Kyle arrives in 1984, he learns that the timeline has been altered. Kyle is intercepted by a T-1000, which Sarah and Pops destroy with acid. Sarah and Pops have constructed a makeshift time machine similar to Skynet's, and Sarah plans to stop Skynet by traveling to 1997, the year it becomes self-aware. However, Kyle is convinced that the future has changed because of a message he received in his childhood vision, and he persuades Sarah to travel instead to 2017 to stop Skynet. In 2017, Kyle and Sarah materialize in the middle of a busy San Francisco highway and are apprehended by city police. While they are treated for injuries, Sarah and Kyle learn that Skynet is called Genisys, a soon-to-be-unveiled global operating system, which is embraced by the public. John suddenly appears and rescues Sarah and Kyle. Pops arrives and unexpectedly shoots John, revealing that John is now an advanced Terminator. The Resistance soldier who attacked John is revealed to have been Skynet in physical disguise as a Terminator. While Kyle was traveling back in time, Skynet attacked John and infected him with machine phase matter. John, tasked with ensuring Skynet's creation, traveled back in time to assist Cyberdyne Systems with the development of Genisys, hence securing Skynet and its machines' rise. A day before Skynet's worldwide attack, Sarah, Kyle and Pops escape to a safe house and make final preparations to destroy Cyberdyne's Genisys mainframe. They head towards Cyberdyne's headquarters with John in close pursuit. During an airborne chase, Pops dive bombs into John's helicopter and causes it to crash. John survives the crash and enters the Cyberdyne complex, where it advances the countdown from 13 hours to 15 minutes. Kyle, Sarah and Pops plant bombs at key points in the facility while holding off John. In a final battle, Pops traps John in the magnetic field of a prototypical time machine. Both are destroyed, but just before the explosion the remains of Pops are flung out of the apparatus into a nearby experimental vat of mimetic polyalloy. Kyle and Sarah reach a bunker beneath the facility and the explosion sets off the bombs, preventing Genisys from coming online. Pops appears, upgraded with mimetic polyalloy components similar to that of the T-1000, and helps them escape from the debris. The trio travels to Kyle's childhood home, where Kyle tells his younger self about Genisys and instructs him to repeat the warning to himself, securing the trio's arrival from 1984. Sarah and Kyle kiss and they, along with Pops, drive off into the countryside. A mid-credits scene reveals that the system core of Genisys, located in a protected subterranean chamber, has survived the explosion. Music. Lorne Balfe composed the film's score. Hans Zimmer joins in as an executive music producer. Balfe aimed to create a soundtrack which stood in its own, since Terminator Genisys is not a prequel and not a sequel, incorporating Brad Fiedel's iconic theme in The Terminator, have a nod to the past but also bring it into the future. Chinese pop singer Jane Zhang and hip-hop artist Big Sean contributed Fighting Shadows, released by Def Jam Recordings on June 30, 2015, as a soundtrack bonus track. The track is Zhang's first English-language recording and Big Sean's musical feature film debut. A music video of the single, produced and directed by Robbie Starbuck, included footage from the film Monsieur the Ramones' I Wanna Be Sedated, One Republic's Love Runs Out, and The Inner Circle's Bad Boys are heard in the film but not included in the soundtrack. All music is composed by Lorne Balfe, except the bonus track. Release. Terminator Genisys saw its European premiere in Berlin on June 21, 2015, and had its North American premiere at the Dolby Theatre in Hollywood 1 week later, on June 28. The film was first released in 10 markets on June 25. The following week, it was released in 35 countries, including the United States, in regular, Realty 3D and IMAX 3D formats. On July 26, the film was playing in 64 countries outside North America, and was released in China on August 23, 2015. Photos of the cast were shot by Entertainment Weekly and published in October 2014, providing a first look at the film's characters. The photos received various criticism this year. On December 2, 2014, Paramount released the film's first motion poster, showing a T-800 disintegrating into dust before the logo appeared. A preview trailer was released the following day, with brief clips from the film accompanied by I'd Love to Change the World by Jetta. Differing from past Terminator releases, the preview had forced-looking camera motion and aerial effect scenes and a first look at the color grading used to evoke the look of past films. The full trailer debuted on December 4. A second trailer, released in April 2015, was noted for spoiling the scene in which John Connor becomes a Terminator, a decision criticized by Alan Taylor and the writers. At the WWE pay-per-view event WrestleMania 31, the film was promoted with an elaborate entrance stage for wrestler Triple H. On the stage, Triple H donning a Terminator outfit and a video played of Schwarzenegger saying, "Judgment Day is here. It's time to play the game." Several brands were promotional partners. On June 14, Schwarzenegger visited Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton for an advanced screening of Terminator Genisys. 2 days later, Waze added Schwarzenegger's Terminator voice as a voice navigation option. Schwarzenegger released a video that day of himself walking around Hollywood dressed as the Terminator and posing as a wax model at Madame Tussauds Hollywood. The video promoted a fundraising contest to benefit the After-School All-Stars, which would bring selected donors to the Terminator Genisys premiere. Several YouTubers appeared with Schwarzenegger in a YouTube miniseries, Terminator Genisys: The YouTube Chronicles, produced by Heresy and released on June 22, consisting of videos uploaded by Machinima, Lily Singh and Toby Turner. The series also included Elliot Dewberry, Ricky Hayberg, Olga Kay, Sean Klitzner, Lloyd Alquist, and Matthew Santoro. The series was directed by Charles Pack and written by Jay Bushman. On June 24, Schwarzenegger spoke to attendees of an early fan screening of the movie in New York City, announced on Reddit, which was followed by an interview and selfie session. The film was released for digital download on October 20, 2015, and was released by Paramount Home Entertainment on DVD, Blu-ray and Blu-ray 3D on November 10. Terminator Genisys debuted as the best-selling Blu-ray and the most rented film of the week, and was second in overall home video sales to Inside Out. It has grossed over $25.1 million in total domestic video sales, bringing the film's gross to $465.3 million. A 4K UHD Blu-ray release occurred on June 12, 2018. Reception: Terminator Genisys grossed $89.7 million in North America and $350.8 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $440.6 million. Of the Terminator franchise, only Terminator 2: Judgment Day earned more at the box office, because of its $155 million production budget and an estimated $50,100 million spent on marketing. Bloomberg Business reported that the film would have needed to earn at least $450 million in its theatrical run to break even. In August 2015, Forbes cited Terminator Genisys as the first American film to earn $400 million worldwide without grossing $100 million in North America, earnings comparable to the French film The Intouchables. It was the first Hollywood release to earn $100 million in China and less than that in North America. Both were duplicated the following summer by Warcraft. The film opened on July 1, 2015 in the United States and Canada in 3,700 theaters, and previewed the previous evening in 2,527 theaters. The two films and the holdovers Jurassic World and Inside Out were each projected to earn $4,555 million during the Independence Day holiday period and $2,730 million over the three-day weekend. Box office analysts noted that Terminator Genisys would have to compete with Jurassic World and, to some extent, Ted 2 for male moviegoers. They expected the film to have the upper hand, replacing Jurassic World in IMAX theaters. But good earnings were needed internationally to make up any deficits. It made $2.3 million from the Tuesday night preview record for Paramount Pictures, surpassing the $2.1 million earned by Hercules 2014, and $8.9 million on its Wednesday opening day. The film earned $42.4 million over the 5-day opening stretch, including $27 million from 3,758 theaters over the weekend, placing it third at the box office behind Jurassic World and Inside Out. Scott Mendelson of Forbes suggested several possible explanations for its box office performance: poor marketing, negative reviews, competition from the family-friendly Jurassic World and Inside Out, the declining Schwarzenegger's star power, and American indifference to another Terminator film this year. During the weekend of August 2, 2015, Terminator Genisys was playing in 65 countries, including the US and Canada. The film was released in China on August 23. Comparisons of overseas box office performance were made with Paramount's Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, 2011, Pacific Rim, Lucy and World War Z rather than the preceding Terminator Salvation, 2009, and the other Terminator films. The film was released in 10 countries before its North American debut beginning on June 25, earning $8.4 million over its opening weekend. During its second weekend it expanded to 46 countries, earning $73.3 million and topping the international box office before being passed by Minions the following weekend. The film led in box office receipts outside North America for 4 non-consecutive weekends. Terminator Genisys had the franchise's biggest opening and Schwarzenegger's best in Singapore, $1.4 million, and Colombia, $1.3 million. Both exceeded the opening of Terminator Salvation and that of 28 other countries, including Russia, Korea, and Mexico. The film topped the box office in Peru, Vietnam, Turkey, and 28 other countries, was Paramount's biggest Argentine opening, $2.3 million, and was the biggest July opening and the 5th biggest of all time in Russia and the CIS, $12.5 million. In the UK and Brazil it opened behind Minions, earning $5.8 million and $3.9 million, respectively, and was second in France to Les Profs 2 with $3.8 million. Other notable openings were in South Korea, $11.2 million, Mexico, $6.1 million, Japan, $5.4 million, Australia, $4.4 million, Germany, $3.1 million, and India, $3 million. Its largest markets outside the US and Canada were South Korea, $23.5 million, Russia, $21.8 million, Japan, $19 million, the UK, $16.1 million, and Brazil, $11.1 million. Terminator Genisys earned $2.2 million from Chinese midnight showings, the 4th largest of all time, and $27.4 million on its opening day, the 4th biggest opening day of all time for a Hollywood film, behind Furious 7, Avengers, Age of Ultron and Transformers, Age of Extinction. It topped the international box office with a one-day gross from China. The film earned $82.8 million in its 8-day opening week, Sunday to Sunday, $58 million from Monday to Sunday, and $23.4 million in its 3-day opening weekend, Friday to Sunday. Rob Kane of Forbes attributed the successful opening in China to Schwarzenegger's popularity, audience appetite for films with robots, disasters and machines, and its being the first Hollywood film released after a 60-day blackout of non-Chinese films as of September 12, 2015. Terminator Genisys had grossed $112.8 million in China. Review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes reports an approval rating of 27% based on 268 reviews, with an average rating of 4.71/10. The website's critical consensus reads, mired in its muddled mythology, Terminator Genisys is a lurching retread that lacks the thematic depth, conceptual intelligence, or visual thrills that launched this once mighty franchise. On Metacritic, which assigns a weighted average to critic reviews, The film has a score of 38 out of 100, based on 41 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of B+ on an A+ to F scale. The Los Angeles Times said critics found the film to be a messy sequel that was a convoluted retread of past films. According to the Wrap, critics found the time travel storyline to be convoluted, and that the performances were unremarkable, aside from Schwarzenegger reprising his role. Joe Morgenstern of The Wall Street Journal criticized the film, saying that it plays like the worst of all outcomes. James Rocky of The Wrap compared it negatively to The Terminator, writing that Genisys comes back from the past to water down a whole season of summer movie-going. Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune criticized the film's lack of originality, calling it simply business and dull business at that. Michael O'Sullivan of The Washington Post enjoyed the film. Genisys goes back to what made the franchise work in the first place. Not the machine inside the man, but vice versa. Richard Lawson of Vanity Fair also gave a positive review, writing that the film makes a surprisingly compelling case for itself. Mark Hughes of Forbes called many of the negative reviews a result of cynical nostalgia, which distrusts change and anticipates failure, calling the review aggregator ratings ridiculously and undeservedly low. After seeing a pre-release screening of the film, Cameron voiced his support for Terminator Genisys, describing it as respectful to the first two films. Cameron said he felt like the franchise has been reinvigorated. However, in 2017, Cameron said that he had supported Terminator Genisys only because of his friendship with Schwarzenegger. Actress Emilia Clarke expressed relief to discover there would not be any sequels following the film's poor box office performance. In reference to the film's director Alan Taylor, with whom she had worked on Game of Thrones, Clarke said, "He was eaten and chewed up on Terminator. He was not the director I remembered. He didn't have a good time. No one had a good time." Future. In December 2013, The Hollywood Reporter reported that a television series was in the works, which would tie into a new Terminator film trilogy. Sequels to Terminator Genisys were scheduled for release on May 19, 2017 and June 29, 2018, under the tentative titles of Terminator 2 and Terminator 3, but they were ultimately cancelled. The two sequels were to be filmed back-to-back during 9 months of continuous shooting. The storylines for the two sequels were devised by Kellogg, Reedus and Lussier. The new trilogy would have explained who sent Pops back to protect Sarah Connor. J.K. Simmons would have had further involvement in the new trilogy, and Deo Okuni would have a significant role reprising Danny Dyson in the second film, which would have focused on John Connor's life after becoming part machine. Jason Clarke said about the cancelled Genisys sequel, MW parser output, template quote, overflow, hidden, margin, 1M0, padding, 040px, MW parser output, template quote, site line height, 1.5m, text align, left, padding left, 1.6m, margin top, 0. What I remember was that second one was going to be about John's journey after he was taken by Skynet, like going down to what he became. Half machine, half man. That's where the second one was going to start. And that's about all I knew. It's such a bummer we didn't get to do that. Development stalled in 2015 after Terminator Genisys underperformed at the box office. On October 1, 2015, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that the sequels and television spin-off were on hold indefinitely, following the film's overall box office performance. According to Skydance COO Dana Goldberg, the company was pressing forward with development but would further analyze market research before starting production. In January 2016, the planned Terminator 2 was removed from Paramount's release schedule. In April 2016, Emilia Clarke said that she would not return for any sequels. Ultimately, The film rights to the Terminator franchise reverted to co-creator James Cameron, who along with David Ellison, produced a new film, Terminator: Dark Fate, a direct sequel to Terminator 2: Judgment Day. It was intended to be the first in a new trilogy of planned Terminator films, though they were later cancelled due to the film's poor box office returns. The film was directed by Tim Miller, and features the return of Schwarzenegger and Hamilton. It was released on November 1, 2019.